This is Steve Riley, the attacking player in this last round. And this is
Daniel Olivas. I was the Eldar player and the defender, I believe.
And welcome to this 20-minute recap of Smite Club stream. This is our semifinals here. And you can go ahead and check the entire stream over on YouTube. That should be actually already posted and should be ready to go. And if you like what we do, please like, subscribe, and comment and let your friends know about us. We absolutely appreciate rules corrections or any mistakes we do. We all know it's a complicated game and sometimes things go a little wrong. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about deployment and why I deployed the way that I did. You guys kind of see where I am here. Kind of just deployed on this side. Let's kind of just deployed over here to try to get out of Dan's line of sight. He kind of did the same thing. You can see him kind of castle. This first turn, we're actually just moving up, trying to stay out of Dan's line of sight, trying to take as less firepower as possible, but jump on the objectives here and here. There's guys back here as well, and push the center for both the moments was really my deployment in first turn. That first turn didn't go so hot, as in I did very little damage and just kind of pushed and positioned. Dan, what did you do on your first turn?
Yeah, I think you were in a situation where you didn't have any real options offense-wise, so it was a positioning issue, which happens on these games, especially on diagonal deployments. I feel like the person going first oftentimes, without having Phantasm or some way to deploy during, to get a deployment edge, you're not going to do a ton. So you moved up and came in the middle. I kind of mirrored your disposition a little bit because I have better range than you. So I took the two targets you gave me, which was the Picatrix guys that went to the middle, and then you had the 1 5-man intercessor squad, I believe, on the bottom objective.
Exactly.
So I just positioned so that I could kill these guys and kill these guys, because obviously I don't want to go too far behind on primary. And then I didn't want to expose my psychic battery turn 1, knowing that I was going to have to expose it turn 2. So what you see is me set up all my fire and fades and everything. I knew I wasn't going to be fading back into a transport this turn, so I just had to make sure I could get out of line of sight but still control those lanes with intercept in the back there. I do have a unit up in this top corner that's just on this objective behind this wall for holding that objective. And so I didn't want to push too hard this turn, and so I didn't do as well on secondaries as I could have, but I was able to clear the 2 units I needed to clear so that I didn't give up hold more, essentially. So took off so that you only got hold. So.
You did great on that, actually, taking me off both those. You just, honestly, I was a little intimidated on my commitment right there, knowing the amount of firepower you have with 14 Dark Reapers. It's kind of brutal. So, Dan, what was your overall strategy? What were you thinking? You were just kind of push me and know that you got to fight for the middle. And I think we both had the same idea. We both needed to fight for those objectives towards the middle.
Yeah, so again, I talked about this in my last game. My list design's poor. I don't have enough shielding for my characters. I have too many characters with too little shielding. So what I have to do with this list is I have to at some point commit, and I need to commit when I still have an advantage, right? So because you were a little conservative turn 1, it allowed me to sort of be conservative turn 1, knowing that I was going to be able to, or attempt to land, a haymaker round 2.
Absolutely, and you put yourself in great position for that. So turn 2, this is me fully committing and deciding that I'm going to go towards the middle, hoping that some of my resilience will work out well. The apothecary, I was hoping for him to do his job, and he did pretty well. We did get quite a few of those 6-up feel no pains. Still trying to position towards the center of the board, and knowing the amount of firepower that Dan's army has, my real idea and what I'm really focusing on is trying to push that middle of the board and go up on primary if possible, but make sure I'm going up on secondaries. If I can hold Dan partially in his deployment zone, which he was on his first turn, he's given up some of those engaged in all front points and such that are around. It's really kind of the idea. I was willing to sacrifice units and trade to see if I can beat him on that secondary.
Yeah, and here's where you see too, my intercept controls lanes really well. And that's, the advantage of having a 10-man Reaper brick.
Yeah, that's
being able to cover 2 lanes essentially. Difficult for him to bring his reserves in.
You definitely cover him this way and this way, which is brutal. And so it's focusing me to be towards the center or use some deflate on this side, but that's really the only options.
And even the 4-man Reaper unit is capable of picking up, a small unit of Primaris Marines, through
Absolutely.
So it's tricky, and do you want to give those guys up for nothing, essentially, right? Sure. They're not going to get to shoot, they're not going to do anything. So
yeah, you're exactly right.
It makes it a little trickier, which is one of the tricks I have. And they have guide up, which lasts the whole psychic phase into my next psychic phase. So, I'm still re-rolling hits, which is, again, even the 4-man can be dangerous under the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely agree. You definitely have the assets and the tools to smack Marines around pretty well. Yes, sir. He does it well. He does it well. So here we go. I did fully commit. The Eradicators did come over and take out one of the Wave Serpents. The reason why the Wave Serpents need to be engaged is you got to take him out of the equation because he has limited screening units. And those characters are so powerful with the amount of smite damage they can do and their other mortal wounds. You got to try to eliminate both those so that you can free up and try to work some angles. And being so slow, it's a challenge. The Incarn at this point, though, is just brutal because you know that whatever you kill, he can just reposition.
Yeah, that's going to come into play later in the game. So we're into bottom of round 2. I have to commit because if I give him another turn to take away my screening units, I'm not going to have any screens left. So at this point, I have to commit. I need to kill the Eradicators. They're the main threat to my Reaper Brick. And then I need to, again, establish lane control for Intercept. So that's what I do here. I commit to the middle of the board. It's a little bit of a game of chicken. Steve didn't have any options. If he stayed behind that building, then he's just going to get outscored on primary and it's going to be game over. So he comes forward. I have a reasonable psychic phase here, mostly with my debuffs. I think I get Doom and Jinx up.
You sure did.
My psychic mortal wound output wasn't great, but it was enough. And you're going to see some of the shenanigans I have, in this turn where I can just pick up, for example, the Eradicators. And he rolled very poorly on his banners. I don't think any of his Meltas got to shoot.
Not a darn
Maybe
one.
one. I don't remember, but it wasn't very good. He got to shoot some pistols, I think, was all.
Yeah, it was a couple Blade Guard. But the Eradicators went down a little too easy, to be honest, and that's just a shame. Yeah. They're normally more durable, but they got wrecked. I traded my Eradicators for a Wave Serpent.
Yeah, which is not a good trade.
Not at all.
But it's a trade you have to make because you can't let the 2 Wave Serpents just screen my characters forever.
Exactly right. That and the mobility with your Wave Serpents.
With a 5-man, you can't split it, right? If you go 3 into one Wave Serpent and 2 into the other.
Well, you're not going to get that double tap.
Yeah, you're going to get to shoot twice. Exactly. So you're not going to kill. You might not kill either one at that point.
Exactly. So you have to almost overcommit with that unit and hope that the retaliation, you buff them enough that you can handle it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fair spot. Wave Serpents are totally good.
They really are.
And I love how my Wave Serpents look, so they're going to be in every list.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
So you see the spears and stuff come up, and I'm just trying to remove the Eradicators, and I remove the Blade Guard unit. I think I knock it down to 1 guy, and then I'm just going to push in here shortly, I think. I don't know. My top unit, my Storm Guardians are up in the top left. They didn't move till really late in the game. But again, here I made a mistake. I could have brought reserves down and got engaged on all front points, and I just didn't. That's one of the dangers of getting too chatty in a game is you forget what you're doing.
So, and the honest thing is that you only really have this spot because there's a unit back here where you can't quite land, and then this unit was purposely put in there so you couldn't come back here was the idea when I came in.
Yeah, so I could have come, I saw what you left me. I could have come here for this table quarter, and I could have come up here for this too.
Okay.
So I could have brought both down and been in all 4 table quarters because I have this unit in the back here for that table.
Got it.
But I didn't because I forgot. Pretty simple.
Right? Happened.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, mistakes are definitely happening. Honestly, sometimes those little mistakes are what cost you a win at a tournament.
Yeah, they can be. And honestly, running the app, I prefer to do pen and paper because I feel like I pay better attention to the game when I'm playing with pen and paper.
I would agree.
And score the app. For whatever reason, it does take a bunch of my attention off, and I don't know why that is.
No, I'm right there with you, buddy. I sometimes forget my secondaries. I think I chose something different, and I have to look at the app and go, actually, I don't even need that. I wasn't even doing that.
Yeah, and you even reminded me I didn't take deploy scramblers. I thought I did. So, these things happen. That's why I like pen and paper, because it's all right there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Laminate a sheet, and then you just use dry erase, and, everybody gets to see it. On stream, it's nice because you have the chat, and you have Matt being the moderator to catch any mistakes you might.
Totally agree. And chat's a great utility. We really appreciate you guys paying attention, catching our mistakes, letting us know if we're doing something right or wrong, which is great. We love your guys' feedback. So here we go. We're on to this top of turn 3. Yep. It's me just kind of pushing out. I'm really trying to fight for that center. That center of the table is just so vitally important. As you guys can see, these 3 are going to be what I'm fighting for, and I've got to push for because that's going to give me my advantage. But I have to get those ultimate moment points to the center, and that's really what we're fighting for. The battle for the center is going to determine this game, and both Dan and I know that. Both our lists are designed to fight for the center. Just Dan had the superior day on me. He took the center from me. He came back in and committed with Gilliman, hoping that Gilliman was going to be able to take out the Incarn, taking away that utility and that source that can kind of bounce all over the board and is always a psychological threat. It was worth trading Gilliman, in my opinion. I needed the center of that board once again. Not only that, but if Gilliman gets the center of the board, I didn't think the spears could take him out right away, which means that the open moment points would still happen, and I was still trying to max that secondary.
Yeah, and you saw at the end, at the bottom of 2, I pretty much cleared the center of the board.
Yep.
He had some characters that then bounced out, and then he's going to bring Goleman in to, like he said, try to punch my poor Incarn to death, who never did anything to anybody, but is always the brunt of violence by Space Bully Marines. But that's his job. That's the Incarn's job. His job, her job is to be a nuisance. I will say it works a lot better when you don't coach against yourself with it. But it is the ultimate gotcha tool, so I don't know where I land on how much you're supposed to coach when that's his whole gimmick, and that's why you pay 280 points for it. But he's definitely fun to play with, which is why I play with him. So he goes well with the spears too, because they can really bounce around. So I think there's your charge. And here we have a little bit of a long discussion about what's the smart play here to split attacks or clear the center. I think you ultimately decide to go all into the
Incarn because of the 4-up, and then you potentially doing a command reroll on one of those. Didn't think I was going to get damaged, or was hoping on the proxies of using the Emperor's Sword and getting the D3 mortal wounds based on 6s. Not a damn one. That's super frustrating.
You didn't roll any 6s.
No, but his two wounds. Yeah, even his wounds, he only got 3 through.
6 through on that front.
No, I'm referring to actual wounds through.
Oh, your wounds, yeah.
Because your 4-ups or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you actually made a couple of your feel no pains. So.
So we did a reroll to get rid of one, and then made nose peel. So all 6 went through.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would have done 9, which would have killed him. A CP reroll.
That's exactly right.
And
you got none of your 6s.
And then none.
Yep. So if the Incarn would have gone there, I felt that I would be in a much better position, knowing that Gilliman's going to take a brunt of a fire. But him with his 3-up invul and Tiggy so close, I was hoping that I could deny the jinx on him, which would have been important, and hopefully the doom that potentially would have gone on him if the Incarn was dead. That was the plan. That was the hope. Realizing I was going to use potentially a command point reroll for my Deny the Witch. The battle for the center. This is Gilliman kind of overcommitting, trying to do what he can to try to clear the center.
Yeah, he's dead. He died to the combination of psychics and the discharge from the Wave Serpent.
Mm-hmm.
That Wave Serpent finally actually got his discharge off.
It did. You failed 2 of those exactly, which was... Dan kept rolling those ones. It happens, but...
So I think at this point, Goleman's dead, right? We're just waiting.
Yeah, it's just his base. Yep.
But the important part here is that it frees the Incarn to be able to charge.
Yep.
Because if I fall back with the Incarn, I can't do anything with him. He can't even cast. So I had to leave him in combat to cast. And I had some backup plans here in case that didn't happen. But, that way when he stands back up, he has to be an inch away at the end of the shooting phase. And then in charge phase, I can just charge him.
Exactly.
I do make a slight mistake here. I should have charged with the Dire Avengers first. Because Steve's able to overwatch me, and then potentially he could have killed me in Overwatch. He did not. He did take a wound off me, but he didn't kill me. Thank goodness.
Yep.
Because that would have been embarrassing.
That would have been awesome.
So here we're trying to figure out if the Wave Serpent can make the charge and still protect my characters, and it couldn't. So he doesn't.
Just let him out.
Yeah. Didn't quite work out that way. And thankfully, Steve fails 2 saves with his Gorman. He command rerolls to get 1 save in, and
you roll the d6 and got
4 damage. Yeah.
Exactly, where you can only take 3. So he had 3 wounds back. Gilliman is pulled off the board.
Which is what you have to do with Gilliman. You got to get him out in 1 turn. You can't let him stand back up and do shenanigans. So.
Yeah. I was really hoping he was going to be a little bit more of a utility. I was really hoping that, a 400-point model could take out a 280-point model. Didn't work that way, though.
It did not. So here's maybe I coach against myself quite a bit here, and then don't coach against myself at the end. Yeah. And Steve's making a little bit of an error here.
I made a huge error.
Targeting order. We were to the Incarn get away, basically.
Yeah, we were talking, and there we were looking for line of sight. Sometimes in the corners of buildings, it almost looks like you have a line of sight, but you really got to get the laser on it to see if you can clear that corner. It's really hard to get perspective sometimes, especially when it's in the center of the board where it's really hard to get the angle. So the laser was pulled out. We figured out that the unit could not have direct line of sight, so it did have to advance. Thankfully, Dan let me go ahead and go back to do that to make sure that everything was on par and we're good. This is once again just repositioning, trying to get some angles, and me choosing some wrong orders. It gives Dan an out, and he definitely jumped on that out, and that Incarn.
Yeah, and you get your last scrambler points here. You bring your
I do.
Infiltrator squad into the back line there to get your last.
Yeah, you're low on command points, which meant you couldn't intercept.
Yeah, that suckering that extra command point out of me top before meant that I couldn't intercept. Yeah. But I had to do it. So.
You did.
So I think here you're shooting at something. I don't know if you're shooting at.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, that was me killing in the back.
Oh yeah, so you kill the Rangers in the back corner, which allows me to jump.
So there's Rangers back here, and there was an intercessor squad here that engaged them. I just did my target priority wrong. I was working around the table instead of going to what I needed to shoot first. We even had this discussion. I just brain farted with a poor play.
And I told him several times, and then when he went to shoot those guys, I decided not to go to.
Which was I'll learn that way, which is great. That was just a silly move. Yeah. I'm gonna blame that on talking a little too much. And
what that allows me to do here up in this corner is, because of the distance, and I pull the last model, I can position him within 3 inches of his guys that you can't see here, and he can heroic after he jumps, or she can heroic. So this squad's in trouble. I thought maybe here Steve could have charged me and then fought first and tried to pull those last 2 wounds off. The chances of them doing that's super low, but there's a chance you do.
Well, no, probably would have been the play just in case.
Yeah, I mean,
and because the turn were actually would have been -1, so there is a chance with rerolls.
Yeah.
Could have been the play. It's probably what I should have done, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to be on 5s, but you get a fair amount of attacks.
Sure.
But because they didn't charge, and because something had died in the turn, the Empire counts as charging, which means he got to fight second. And he obviously killed all 5 of those guys.
Yeah, murdered him. Well, 2 wounds. That would have actually been the alternative, was trying to charge there.
Yeah. And then, because if you get it, you get it, right?
They're dead anyway. So even if I take off a wound, it's still...
You still leave 1 guy on the objective, right? So you still hold it and fight with 4, maybe. That would have been play.
Sure.
But, yeah. And I thought about that a little bit at the time, but we were kind of moving faster at this point.
We sure were.
I think he's in the middle of the table with his aggressors, I believe.
I pushed forward, tried to do what I could.
Charged my Dire Avengers and punched them to death.
Yeah, just trying to clear that center of the board and try to get those oath moment, and try to see if I can. I'm forcing Dan to blow me off objectives, because if he doesn't, I'm going to go up on primary and I'm willing to sacrifice units to just pressure.
Yep.
Keep the pressure on, keep it. And hopefully there'll be a round of bad rolls.
And I had some stuff about flag activities, but at that point I was in control, I think. So
you absolutely were. You were definitely in control with firepower. I couldn't even touch you. My range, unfortunately, I have to press so much further on the board. It's not going to happen at that point.
So round 5 was really fast. He hid. Killing his guys didn't do me any good, so just took the points. And then we chat a little bit about just about the game in general, and then obviously we do the more dedicated recap here. 13-point victory for the Aeldar, and a very close game. I feel like I was steering it probably from turn 3, but then that mistake with the target order allowing my Incarn to get out, that was potentially an 11-point swing, which could have made a fairly big difference. So.
Absolutely could have. I think that was the determining factor right there, was letting that Incarn go out or get away and making poor target priority on that.
Yeah, him getting away and taking that home objective away from me was big.
Sure, I agree.
Because I didn't have anything left that could get there.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
We'll chat a little bit and talk about Necrons and some other weird stuff.
Yeah, we should. Is there anything you would do different next time?
Yeah, I mean, so other than not bringing my Rangers in, because the thing is, you didn't have anything that could have shoot at them anyway. You would have to dedicate, higher value shooting at them, which I didn't think you were going to do. And it could have actually used them to zone out where your deep strike opportunities were a little better. Just got to talking turn 2 and do it. So I don't think it changes the score, because you probably do kill them, and then they, so they only get me engaged on offense that turn, and then maybe not next turn. If I'm trading like turn 3 for turn 4 or something.
My options.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Steering. I could have steered you a little bit better.
Sure.
Which is what my sets do. I have to steer mine.
Yep, I completely agree with you. Let's go ahead. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. This is Steve once again. Steve Riley, one of the players. And
thank you for all your attention in the chat. I appreciate that. And this is Daniel Olivas signing off.
That's going to wrap it up. Support us again, guys. If you'd like to, please like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about us. Smite Club will be back with our next semifinal game next weekend, I believe. And take care of yourself. We'll see you next week. This is Smite Club signing off. Thank you.